Woo! Greetings. My name is Lou Barber. I was D'Angelo's choreographer, creative director, and a longtime friend. Unfortunately, as we all know, his untimely passing, I went back and started to look through old footage, pictures, videotapes, anything I had just to, get some memory back and just kind of, reflect on that time period and that era. Because it was 26 years ago. It was a really long time ago. And it just feels like yesterday, but wow, it was just a lot. And I knew D since we were teenagers. I think I was 14, he was 11. Back then, 3 years apart, kind of makes a big difference. But, we used to go and watch him play piano. He could play anything. Like, you could ask him to play it, and he'll play it. And I mean, we were kids back then. And then he would come watch us breakdance. His cousin and I were in a breakdance group together, and we were just killing it. We were like the shit. You know what I'm saying? And then shortly after that, I went into hip hop dance and choreography. And when he did Brown Sugar, he wanted me to help him with Brown Sugar. Things didn't work out right then, but then when Voodoo came out and things were a little bit more structured and had a little bit more budget, then he hired me for Voodoo full time, and then of course Black Messiah, and then everything in between. So I was his liaison between the music and you, the audience, and he wanted to bring his music to life. A lot of the music that he wrote and recorded was all kind of meant to be performed live. I mean, one thing about Chicken Grease, if you listen to Chicken Grease on the album versus live, you understand that it was actually meant to be a live song. Very similar to Sugar Daddy. Sugar Daddy is a live song. It's not really meant to listen to in that recorded essence, even though you know it is, but it was meant to be performed live. So, I helped him with that transition into the live performing era, and Rolling Stone gave him top male performer that year. We had a really successful tour, accolades out the yin yang. I mean, like D was behind the piano on Brown Sugar, then on Voodoo, all of a sudden he's blowing up. He's like all over stage, jumping out in the audience, just doing some phenomenal stuff, and people like, wow, this is crazy. I found some really really cool stuff I wanted to share with you. I found out the Rider that has like D'Angelo's catering. What he wanted in his dressing room. No pork on my fork, strictly fish on my dish. I have a bunch of stuff. One of the things is really from the Voodoo Tour. So I really want to spend a lot of time on the Voodoo Tour because it's not documented. There's not a lot of footage. We didn't have the internet then and social media and all of that. So we couldn't really push that out to the masses. You either had to be there or hear about it from somebody else. Talk about the history of how we came up with the tour. And this painting by Ernie Barnes is really symbolic, and it transcends into a lot of what we've seen today in movies. So Ernie Barnes, when he was a kid or a young age in the 50s, he wanted to go to a juke joint. He was too young. I don't know if he ever made it, but he painted his rendition of, how he wanted what he thought a juke joint would look like, and essentially the essence there. And there's a lot of history with this. And I was a fan of this as well. I wanted to be in a juke joint and go to it when I saw this painting because I'm like, man, it just looks like they're so free. They're having fun, they're letting loose. And at this time period, we didn't have places to go to let loose like this. So we had to go to shotgun shacks or barns or various areas to create our own atmosphere and bring what we have to the table. Bring our banners and make our food and bring our liquor and just have a good time and listen to our own music. And this was our space, our sacred space. So it's very symbolic because we had Saturday night sinners and Sunday morning saints. I mean, it was that sort of atmosphere, and you've seen it in Color Purple, you've seen it in the movie Sinners, you've seen this, and this is what we wanted to bring to the stage. So we D and I talked, and he fell in love with the idea, and then we transitioned and kind of wanted to make that into our own. So what I have found is that there's a lot of symbolism and cross references to the movie Sinners. And I know a lot of people kind of compared it, but it's I don't want to compare what we did to Sinners and vice versa. Two totally different things. But the essence of the culture of our ways of living, partying, expressing ourselves, collectively listening to music was really fabulous at that time. So first is this fax here. Got this dated year 2000, February 20th, 2000, to Willie Bobo and myself from Bill Reeves, who was our production manager. Basically, this was our sort of sketches for the tour. We told them kind of like what we wanted to do, and they gave us sketches, and believe it or not, it was all fax, no email, no airdrop, no nothing. And I'll bring this in. I believe the set list I found, I think it was a House of Blues show. But here is one of the faxes, and I'll bring this in. And like I mentioned, it's from Bill Reeves to Willie Bobo and myself. Willie Bobo was D's, alias, so that no one would call his room and ask for Mr. Archer or D'Angelo. You had to say, "I'd like to speak to Mr. Willie Bobo." But anyway, this fax talks about the sketches and the treatment. And as you can see here, is that we wanted the juke joint look and feel. So the sketch is basically describing a juke joint scene. And if you look here, the spirits five cent a shot reference here. So these were the signs that we were going to get painted or plastered onto the set. And this sign will look like a piece of cloth, sort of like the one from the banners in the Sugar Shack painting. So once again, like I mentioned, this painting here is really symbolic and really is, what made us go down this path of creating this particular stage. So here we have various sketches that came back from some of our ideas, and this was one of the first ones. And we didn't care for it that much. We did come up with a sort of church idea. We wanted the show to sort of go from dark to light, and church was sort of at the end. But Dee wasn't a fan of bringing the whole symbolism of church on the stage, so we passed on that. And we also passed on this one as well. It was a cool idea, but he just didn't want to bring the church on the stage. I mean, he wanted to go to church, like hypothetically, but not, be in church. And then this one was getting close because we wanted Dee to rise up from the back and be a dark figure and make it real eerie and, very, very mysterious, and then go into the light. And then here we're getting closer. And then we got to this piece here, which is, tethered, worn out wood. Looks like it's just been put together, not any real, just piecemeal together. And then we finally came up with this final sketch here. All right, so this was the final rendering of our stage, and as you can see, it's a juke joint, and very similar to what the facts said. It had the signs that we created, the spirit shots, the girls, the dance, and it looked web tethered and beat up and a little just worn, and that's on purpose. A lot of people thought we didn't have a budget. It was really funny. A lot of people didn't like the set. They were like it looks cheap, or where what you didn't have the budget to put into it. But all this was done on purpose because we wanted it to feel like a juke joint. Back in the 50s, Black people, we didn't have the resources to really make this shotgun shack juke joint into a glamorous club like in the city or anything like that. So we brought what we could to make it work. And basically, this is kind of how we wanted it to look and feel. We wanted you to feel like you were vicariously looking in a juke joint party, and we were on stage jamming and just doing our thing, and you just got that essence and that realistic feel, which it worked. The tour was successful, and it was just mind blowing experience. So what I want to do is kind of give you an insight into the show, into how things were formulated, and just the flow of how we transitioned and brought things to life.